feel bad for you.
I don't think about you at all.
Defensive call. Let's see who'll win this battle of strategy. Riggins. He's going to go all the way. Unless Blackwood can catch him, and he can.
The Washington Commanders, or the Washington football team, or the team formerly known as the Redskins, or whatever the hell you'd like to call them, were once a proud franchise. But the brand is beyond tarnished these days. It's lost nearly all of its luster, and with it, a large percentage of its loyal fans. As one of those fans, this video is my attempt to put into words how the team has left many of us feeling. We are completely indifferent. And if you're like me, any association with this team feels embarrassing, and you're probably downright hopeless about the future. So before I get started, admittedly, this is pretty dramatic. I know it's just a football team, and I know it's just entertainment. But that's the thing. Being a football fan is supposed to be fun. It should be a consistent piece of intrigue. It can and it should bring families and friends together, and it can be the source of some of your best memories when it's done right. This is my attempt to explain why the team supporters are leaving in droves. It's an open letter to the NFL, to the Commanders, to Ron Rivera, and to anyone who can relate to being a fan of a sports team. I want to give you an idea of why we are all done. And I assure you, this is about much more than our team just losing games. It's about more than our team losing its name, even if the new one is completely stupid. It's that fans like me are missing the excitement that used to come with rooting for this team. And it goes well beyond football. I'm not making this video because I care way too much about the Commanders. In fact, it's just the opposite. I don't care anymore, and I really wish that I did. The team was first established in 1932 as the Boston Braves, and it has existed in some form or another for the past 90 years. At one point, Washington football's history was considered prolific. Keep in mind, the team has inducted 21 Hall of Famers such as Cliff Battles, John Riggins, Sonny Jurgensen, Darrell Green, and Art Monk. Between 1982 and 1991, the Redskins won 3 Super Bowls under coach Joe Gibbs. He is the only coach to do this with 3 different starting quarterbacks. The Washington football team was the first team with a black quarterback to win a Super Bowl, Doug Williams. In 1983, the Washington Redskins led the NFL with a plus 43 turnover margin. No other team in NFL history has ever had more than 28 in a single season. The fans at this time were avid, and the Washington football games were among the highest attended events in professional sports. The football team often bragged about an admittedly bogus sellout streak that lasted from 1966 until 2018. But nonetheless, these were the glory years. And maybe some fans over the age of 50 can remember them, and even better, cling to them. But things began to quickly unravel with a new ownership group in 1999. From 1999 to 2019, the Redskins maintain a steady downfall from a once proud organization to a complete train wreck. We all know what changed and led to the spiral, so I won't even mention it. But earlier I talked about how the team attendance of the past was so great. As of 2022, the Commanders have fallen to 31st in the league. If you were measuring by average attendance per game, then they're dead last. So here's a list of the noteworthy items that might have led to such a drop in attendance. Since 2000, a whopping 4 playoff berths in 22 years, and only 1 playoff win in that time. Only 1 home playoff victory in the last 30 years. No conference championship appearances. The Commanders are now tied with the Lions for the longest drought since their last one. An owner who allegedly picks players against coaches' wishes with a special interest in quarterbacks. Embarrassing blowouts in prime time. The Commanders have a record of 2-17 in nationally televised games from 2008 to 2019. Dozens of high-priced free agency signings seemingly made out of data compiled from Bleacher Report articles. So many of them were complete busts, and one of the most famous ones, Albert Haynesworth, is considered the worst free agency signing of all time. An organization that seems to continually cash in on the death of a beloved icon in Sean Taylor over and over again. They even offer dolls made in his likeness, and they always make sure they can sell and distribute his number 21 jersey. A series of disastrous injuries on FedEx Field with multiple cases of the training staff worsening the situations for players. And then conflicts between players and other players, coaches and other coaches, executives and other front office personnel, and they all seem to always grab the headlines. So during this time frame, the Washington football franchise has been known for short-tempered executives firing respected personnel, poorly executed trades, very bad and often high-priced contracts, horrific injuries to their players, controversy over the team name, and the tarnishing of great player and coach legacies. All of this equates to one thing: losing football. The Washington Commanders have had a losing record of 156, 212, and 1 from 1999 through the 2021 season. And they have had 10 head coaches over these 23 seasons. During this time, Washington has not advanced past the divisional playoff round. All of this during the same owner's tenure. If I delved into each of the off-the-field scandals that has surrounded the football team in the last 25 years, this video would be nearly 3 hours long. So I'll just go ahead and list some of the bigger ones here. Numerous odious business moves made by the team in an attempt to siphon money from the loyal fan base. If you're interested, look up the stories of the security deposit retentions, the team charging fans for attending training camp, the selling of a 9/11 memorial hat, or that time they sold fans expired beer. Additional heinous activities include over 40 accusations of disgusting acts of sexual harassment in the workplace. Multiple scandals involving the team's cheerleaders, including assertions that videos of their naked bodies were made without their knowledge for the personal enjoyment of team executives. A DEA raid of the practice facility in 2021 as part of a criminal investigation against the team's head athletic trainer. The firing of a team scout coupled with harsh accusations of his alcoholism. Minority owners accusing Dan Snyder of corporate malfeasance such as harassment and intimidation, as well as financial misdeeds. For the record, Snyder has accused them of falsifying reports of his alleged sexual misconduct. And laughably poor infrastructure, including everything from sewage pipes bursting on patrons to actual pieces of the facility falling apart on NFL players. Dan Snyder has vehemently denied all these allegations, but it is up to you whether you choose to believe him or his accusers. And if the latter stories are true, then the organization is rotten to its core. Even if you choose to believe Dan Snyder, he allowed a disgusting culture to fester for 23 years, and by all accounts, he built deep connections with people who have proven themselves to be despicable. There's really no way around it. The franchise has been marred and stained by all of this terrible behavior. Here we are. This is the meat of my video. For the last 25 years, there's been nothing to gain out of being a fan of this team. Keep in mind the DC area is incredibly transient. Many people come from all over the country. It's not like some of the other great sports towns out there with a real sense of community behind the local NFL team. This isn't fun, it's depressing, and it's draining. So as a result of all of this, our emotional attachment to the team has wavered. And for an organization that cannot win nor stay out of the headlines for all the wrong reasons, that is bad. It's made us fans feel like we are doing nothing more than lining the pockets of truly abhorrent people. And maybe if Dan Snyder were to work on his public image, if he were to speak more often, maybe things could change. Maybe he could appear more sympathetic, but I don't think we'll ever know that. I think the die has already been cast, and there's no changing this fan base's mind. That's the troubling part about an ownership group that has lost the faith of the people entirely. There really is no turning back. Oh, and it's not just the fans. This affects our ability to sign talent too. There are plenty of stories about players who do not want to sign with the Washington Commanders and ended up choosing less money elsewhere. If you are a Commanders fan like me, you're stuck hoping for major systemic change, the kind of change that's never happened in professional sports before, and the media knows this. It's no coincidence that the majority of breaking stories about the football team are not about the quarterback, they're not about the free agency signings or the organized team activities, but instead they're centered around the looming consequences of multiple investigations into the owner and the administration of the team's business. This is exactly how you cater to a disenfranchised group, because a story about lofty expectation for the season won't get clicks, but the vague possibility of a new owner, a new front office, and maybe even a new name just might. In DC, we now know what functional organizations look like. We watched the Washington Capitals win a Stanley Cup in 2018 and the Washington Nationals win the World Series in 2019. There is nothing within this organization that points to a day where we will hoist a Lombardi trophy. And the saddest part is, it's gotten me to the point where I don't even think I could stomach my favorite team winning the Super Bowl. It sounds crazy, but to see Dan Snyder achieve everything he's ever wanted and suffer no consequences for all his misdeeds, it just makes me sick. If it happened, I would feel like I am a part of the problem, an enabler of the worst type of behavior. So here's the main point I wanted to make. I understand the NFL has plenty of skeletons in their closet, and I'm sure that no professional sports organization is squeaky clean, but you'd be hard-pressed to find another sports franchise with failures as public as the Washington Commanders. If the allegations against Snyder are true, then the NFL must accept its responsibility for enabling a vile person and granting him and his cohorts such unchecked power. The league has enjoyed federal antitrust exemption privileges since the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961, and it has been able to grow into one of the most popular and profitable organizations in the entire world. An aspirational industry like pro sports lends itself to abuse and corruption. Think about it. If Dan Snyder were simply a billionaire from running an insurance company, he would not have the clout nor the power that comes with being in charge of an organization that everyone wants a piece of. He would have to answer for his actions to a board or customers or shareholders. He would be subject to investigations, employees could unionize or simply quit, because these jobs wouldn't be one in a million. Dan knows this is a dream job for his people, and he takes full advantage of that. He is empowered to abuse his employees should he choose to, simply because he knows there will always be more. If the NFL wants to continue to maintain its exemptions and special treatment, and not be held to the same standards of public or even privately traded companies, then it must just do a better job of vetting its owners. Ensure they're not people capable of heinous acts such as sexual assault. And if they're not willing to do this, then these jobs and these organizations must be heavily regulated, and teams should no longer have traditional owners. So before I wrap this up, I'd like to acknowledge the future direction of the Commanders. The team has made a ton of effort to correct its past. There's the name change, the personnel turnover, the hiring of very respected leaders like Ron Rivera, Jason Wright, and Julie Donaldson. But is it enough? I mean, it's very possible that the team could start winning games and stay out of the tabloids for years to come, but something tells me that won't be the case. Dan Snyder has a reputation as a cutthroat businessman, and he's likely gotten where he is by making some enemies along the way, so I don't think the stories are going to dry up anytime soon. Maybe he's innocent of everything, but does he not owe it to the world to allow himself to be investigated fairly if he's truly got nothing to hide? And how big a statement could it be if Jason Wright, Julie Donaldson, and Ron Rivera all took a stand against an owner who was accused of such abominable acts? I get it, they are being paid millions of dollars to make him look good, and we're talking about life-changing money here. It's for both them and their families. I probably wouldn't have the guts to do it, but these are the people at the top. They could seriously make such a lasting change for the good of everyone if they were brave enough to say no to an NDA. And if they said, I cannot work for someone accused of these things until the truth comes out. I'm sure the owner has been very good to them, but don't you think you'd rather be on the side of justice for the victims? Again, it can be easy to overlook the controversies because of money that Dan Snyder donates to charity. But I assure everyone out there defending him, if Dan Snyder does move on from owning the team, there will be another billionaire stepping in that can also do great charity work, build a better stadium, make deals with local communities, maybe bring the old fans back, and of course, also pay all the employees plenty of money. An honest person up top can make all the difference. But for now, us fans are saddled to an ownership group that has done far worse than just turn the team into a punchline. They have hurt people. And that's why we can't be a part of the latest change they're selling us on. I know the new leaders of the team are asking us to forget all of the past and try to judge them by the new organization that they have become. But that's just it. We do not want to stay. We felt guilt for supporting this team for years, and when the team changed its name to the Commanders, it really just opened the door for us to leave. And sadly, it feels like a lot of us are gone for good.